So problems and conflicts, what actually are they? Step number one, it's data or information that is not necessarily true. Okay, so you can create things that you think is true, but they still might not actually be true. And if you think about it, well, what is true? It's all going to come down to a game of perception, right? So the information and the data that the person has within their own mind is going to be the very thing that causes problems and conflict. People come into my office and they're like, oh, I've got a problem with this, this, and this. I'm like, oh, that's funny. I don't. Why do I not have a problem with it, but they do? Exactly, right? So the story is the data, is the information. And it's like, wow, well, if you did have different data within your information or within your mind, how would you think, feel, and act about that? What if it was the best thing that could have ever happened? Oh my God, man, if I actually thought that that was the best thing ever, I would be over the moon. And this is why people change just like this. If you think about a limiting belief, a limitation within someone's belief of someone saying, I'm not good enough. That's the language, that's the information, that's the data that they're playing out within themselves, correct? So we're all on the same page. It's like, I'm not good enough. How much would that little bit of information have an effect on their life, do you think? But if you think about the information between I'm not good enough and I am good enough, is not very much, is it? But it's very powerful. It's very profound within their life. So this is what we're talking about. The information that is stored at the unconscious level is going to be the life that they're living right now. People have money issues. They don't have money issues. They have data and information issues. People have relationship issues. They don't have relationship issues. They have data and information issues within inside their own mind. Health issues. They don't have health issues. They've got information and data issues within their own mind. And the reason why this is because 0 to 7, you're in a state of hypnosis to start with, right? So you're in a state of just downloading information more and more and more. And most of the information that we've all downloaded, we were never even aware of it. For the last 20 years, you didn't sit there, or you didn't have a part of you sit there saying, oh no, that's gonna be no good for us. Don't accept that. It's just like the floodgates are wide open. It's like, righto, information, come on in. Everything I see, hear, feel, or experience, let's go. And different people actualize different information, and therefore they have a different lifestyle. Why is someone a billionaire and someone a millionaire? They have different information within inside their own mind. They have different data that they're running off. Why is someone completely broke compared to someone that is working 6 days a week? They have different data, different information. It's all the same thing. It's just labeled differently. So when you change the data, when you change the information using your tools and techniques, you're changing the way that they think, feel, and act. Why is it now that you're looking at the screen that says at the top problems and conflicts? There's a few, blue circles and an emoji there with the bandage around his head. Why is that? The reason why is because that is the data. That's the information that's getting sent through pixels. That's getting sent through vibrations within, our experience through to your device, being your computer, that can then download it and decode it and spit out that image on your screen. It's fucking bizarre, right? But guess what? If I change the information on my side of the screen from the source, then so would yours. Most people have got information, most people have got data of things that they do not want. Do you know how frustrating that is? Imagine trying to open up YouTube. You want to watch something on YouTube and, instead of YouTube opening, something really scary keeps popping up and scares the crap out of you. You'd be like, what the hell? Imagine trying to get into your banking system and for whatever reason you weren't allowed into your banking system because you had the wrong password. You had the wrong data. You had the wrong information. That'd be pretty frustrating. The next one is out of balance perceptions. We've been talking about this for a while now. Out of balance perceptions is data and information that the person doesn't necessarily believe in. This is another really goodie. There's questions with no answers. So there's a void. People have questions and they ask these questions whether they know it or not, but there's no answer to them. And then they start to do different things within their life in order to try and find them. I know for myself personally, I was trying to look for the meaning of life. Like, what's the meaning of life? Not my life, but life itself. I went down that rabbit hole for like years, literally to the point where like it nearly fucking ruled me a couple of times. And April's like, dude, whatever you're doing, stop. This is ridiculous. And the crazy thing is, the more you go down a rabbit hole, the more void you find. The more you go down the rabbit hole, the more void you find. And then all of a sudden you end up in the void and there's nothing there. And like, I've just spent so much time, money, energy on trying to find something that I thought that needed to be found. And there's nothing here. But I want you to understand this. When there's nothing there, you get to choose. When there's nothing there, you get to choose. You get to choose your meaning of life. You get to choose who it is that you want to be. People say, yeah, but if I did that, who would I be? Well, the beauty of that question is you get to choose. Who would you want to be? I used to find this a lot with, working with people physically years and years ago. They'd say, yeah, but Luke, if I lost all that weight, who would I be? I was like, you understand you get to choose, right? They're like, holy fuck, I forgot that. And just that little bit of thing, once again, like it sounds so elementary, but if they didn't know that, if they didn't have that information or that data, then they would hold themselves back because they were scared of, well, if I lost all that weight, I'd be in the void, and then who would I be? I don't want that because I know who I am right now. And maybe their scariest thing is not knowing who they are. I know for me personally, growing up, I used to think that I had to do two things. Number one, know exactly what it is that I was doing. And number two, who I was. Because if I woke up one day and was one person and woke up the next day and decided to be another person, people around me would find that very weird. They'd think, oh, you've got something wrong with you. Because consistency is one of the greatest things that people really want within, especially themselves and your own identity. If you're not consistent with your own identity, you will probably start to think that you're quite crazy, and so will other people. But what they don't understand is you're going through a change within inside yourself. So questions with no answers are really, really powerful. Sometimes people will come into your world and they're focusing on their problems, and sometimes they don't need to focus on their problems. Through their language and through everything that they're talking about, you might understand, or you might get the insight that they're actually trying to find answers to questions that they have of simple things like, who am I? What am I connected to? Where did I come from? And for you personally, like I really mean this, for you personally, myself personally, you'll probably attract a lot of people like that within your life because you can help them. This is like the path to mastery. The amount of people that I've talked to that literally think that they're going crazy, I'm like, dude, you ain't going crazy. You're waking up. You're going through a process now of discovering who you are and who you're not from the past. So from my point of view, you're right on track. But for other people's point of view, they're going crazy because old John or Mary, they come to work every day and they're different. One day they're on top of the world. The next day they're, in the dumps. But when you think about it, wouldn't you be exactly the same if one day you woke up and you knew who you were? Or even who you wanted to be, and then the next day you didn't? I've produced that behavior many a times. So anytime from this point on, when you're working with people and they're talking about their conflicts and their problems, you think about, okay, great, what's the data or the information that's not necessarily true? What's the perception that's out of balance? Or what's the question that doesn't have an answer to it?